Hello everybody, ADG here with another project for you. About a month ago I had my birthday, which just goes to show you how backed up I am with production right now. And one of the presents I got, thank you Mom, is this project locomotive. This is a Apache Railroad Alco c420 by Atlas, N scale again. It's in pretty good shape, but not perfect. As we see, it is missing critically the rear railing. It supposedly runs really well. I got this from trains.com. They're pretty trustworthy. I also note some of these railings are not in proper place, which I'm going to fix quickly here. Anywho, the project for today is to get this thing up and running and install sound. I have yet another sound decoder here stashed in this envelope back here from SL Systems, but I think I'm going to go with the official MRC decoder. That other decoder I ended up, long story short, from the previous project on the Lehigh and Hudson River Alco, I had a decoder like this one for it. It failed. It was supposed to have been replaced. It never got sent out. And what ended up happening is I went out and actually bought another decoder, which is what I have here. And yeah, I'm going to give that a shot and install it in here and see how it works. First things first, let's see if this actually works the way it's supposed to. Let me get this all set up here. So again, I'm told this is in good running order. Take these things off because I'm going to have to do some gluing. I'm going to have to put a railing on this, but I have that covered. I'll get into that later. First things first is to assess the mechanical condition of this thing. Function before form. Let me actually first get these railings in place. I think I'm going to have to use my tweezers on here. Pair of straight tweezers are your friend on these N-scale locomotives. I'm going to just pull this railing back into its little hole right here on the top cab step. And guide this into the hole right over here. And I pulled it out again. Okay, I think they got that in pretty well. Just check the front railing here. Not clear as to how this got so far out of whack. I don't know if someone deliberately did this to get someone really annoyed. I think I just scratched this thing a bit now. I'm almost tempted to leave that as is. It's pretty close. I think I'm just going to leave that one like it is because it's pretty much in there. Yeah, it looks like this was glued back in, so that's how it's going to be. Oh, ooh, this horn was loose. I hope I didn't break it, but no, I got it back in. I think I'm going to have to put a little glue on this horn when I'm done with it. I do have clear clear non-residue glue, or whatever you like to call it here. Contacts look like they're in good shape. I think that's the end of the railings that are not perfectly done. Oh, wait, I take that back. Oh, wow, look at these here. They've been bent completely out of whack. Let's push these back in here. Gonna avoid using glue as much as possible because it tends to stain the models permanently. And the instant you put glue on, it's not mint. Again, I didn't buy this from Mint. It was actually a pretty good deal. I think this was around $60 I paid for it. But again, that reflects the condition it's in. Physical condition more than anything else, hopefully. Oh, this is not in the hole here either, I just noticed. I don't know how well that comes up. This one here is also not in the hole. This thing really got ransacked. Again, some of the foam cushioning was not in place when it was shipped to me. That could have made things worse. Okay, I got that in place. Yeah, so I think I've been able to salvage most of this. This front railing is in good shape. Wheels, there's wear on them. I would expect to have some kind of wear on these units after it's been put through that kind of abuse. You'd expect some wear and tear. So yeah, I think I'm ready now to give this a try. Let's go see how it works. This is an analog engine right now. Again, I will put sound in it later. First, let's check its analog abilities with my analog power pack. Let's go and now throttle her up and see what she does. Nothing. Nothing. Oh, there it goes up. Was stuck a little bit, it looks like. This transformer, admittedly, is not in the greatest condition of its life, but that's what I have to work with here. Yep, seems to run pretty well. In fact, very well, so I'm satisfied with that. So I'm going to go right ahead and take this thing apart and get it ready to be converted for DCC and sound, and also take care of the one visual defect it has. I think I'll do that first, actually. Get my glue handy here, and I'll go set up. Okay. So obviously I have to replace this rear railing back here. For that, I'm going to need the railing to replace it with, and parts for Atlas engines like these can be a little tricky to come by. Luckily, this is one of the exceptions. I have here 2 railings. Hint on this red one. It's for another project. Here is a white painted one. I know this is supposed to be white and green, but I just did it with white. It was just too difficult to get the green accent in place. I'm just going to do it like this. Maybe I'll go over it later on, but for right now, this will do fine. I just don't want it to look the plain old colors. As far as I'm concerned, the green wore off because it was in service for so long. Anywho, actually, it's mainly green. I didn't even see that. Well, anywho, I'm going to install this right now. Let me go ahead and get my hobby knife here. I'm going to now extract this with an X-Acto knife. Zoom you in a little bit. Pardon me there, I accidentally hit the pause button. Going to now, using a hobby / X-Acto knife, I'm going to carefully cut this out of its mold. And I'm now going to take this and place it on top. I'm going to actually pull the shell off the locomotive at this point. This seems kind of counterproductive to do it this way, but the fact is, if you glue it this way and the glue dries and it doesn't actually dry in place, it'll mean the shell won't get stuck on the actual frame itself. You can tell this has been off. I know Train services their locomotives / tests them, so that's probably why. And again, we see it does have an analog board on it. This I'll convert a little bit later. Let's focus now on getting this shell done right. So, well, as it turns out, things really didn't go to plan once again. As it turns out, the railings I had were for a high hood locomotive, not a low hood locomotive, which is what this is. And unfortunately, the low hood railings have not been in production for a while and are currently not available and probably never will be. So I had to come up with a bodge. And I did this by trimming some of the parts off of this particular railing to make it fit, including the actual place where I glued it down in the center section, which you'll see in a second. Okay, sorry I didn't film that. I had a little trouble with my camera. What I did essentially is I just took my glue brush, ran it across the front, and as it turns out, these 2 points in the middle here still actually have tabs on them. So all I did was take my glue brush, run across the bottom here with it, and then I pressed this into place so it'll hold it down. It's not the greatest bodge I've ever done, but it'll work well enough. So, with that done, I'm going to now move this to the side and let the glue set up on this. And I'm going to tackle the nitty-gritty / mechanics of this locomotive. So, and as I mentioned, I have a decoder that I bought for this thing. It's an 1812 by MRC. I tried to install one of these recently and had a little trouble with it. The one I got in eventually was not this version, but the successor version by the XL Systems company. What I'm going to do now is attempt to put this in. Before I do that, I actually have one little bit of work to do on this. Again, this horn is loose and it's driving me nuts, so I'm just going to fix this. I'm going to gently pull this horn back out. I'm just going to take my glue brush and just put a little glue right over here on top of the horn assembly. I want to actually get some in there. Already bodged this a little bit, but since it's not going to be perfect, who cares? I just don't want that horn to get lost. And speaking of the horn, I think I did just lose it. Where did I put the... Oh, here it is. Ugh. God, I'm losing my mind today. Okay, so again, the two front pieces go... The two larger horns stick out on the front here. Let's go and put that in there. And there we are. That's in place. Gonna let the glue do its job, set up, and hopefully dry that down. Let me actually do one last tweak on the back here, make sure this is all setting up, and it is actually setting up quite nicely. Once this is done setting up, I will actually put these little pieces in place. Let me go actually and take this and put it to the side now so it doesn't get damaged. While the glue does its job, I'm fixing that up. First step, again, like any Atlas locomotive, I got to take these two screws out of here. Let's zoom in a little bit better to show you what I'm up to. Go take this screw out right here. Using a little cheap screwdriver here, see if I can unjam this and get it to move. Not sure they did take this apart because that screw was in there rock hard. I'm going to have to physically separate the frame. Usually you can get away with just splitting it slightly and just moving it apart so you can slide the decoder in. But because of the way the MRC decoders are designed, which is a bit older and archaic, they won't go in any other way. Okay, let me actually get my box for this locomotive back here before I lose parts. Just going to put them in here. Locomotive, as you see, it's missing its padding, but it's still got the original box. So I can just store them in there. This way, if I start running into parts, I can just stash them there and it'll be fit and they'll be fine. Okay, now this is not going to cooperate, it looks like. Why would it? It would be too simple, wouldn't it? There we go. Oh, I just got it to separate finally. I had to pull a little bit on it. Let's now pull this fuel tank off because, again, I have to separate this fully. Pickups while I'm looking down here aren't too bad. Maybe I'll go over them with an alcohol wipe in a bit, but I think these are actually going to hold out. It just looks like wear on the bottom there, so it looks like they're going to be fine. Maybe a dab of alcohol wouldn't hurt them. Put these trucks in the little box over here. Trucks themselves, wheels are okay. Looks like they were clean before I got them, so that will do. Let me see if I can figure out exactly which side is the side where the joins are. So this is where the side I want all the parts to wind up on right there. So I want everything to drop down, so I'm going to press the motor down and push the frame up. This will force all these parts to stay, hopefully, in these little secured holder area things. To wrestle with it here. Oh, might have if I pulled this out, wouldn't it? This headlight bracket thing, which probably won't fit back in there in my experience. And there we are. I got it off. And that's how it should come apart. So, and now just press these things back into place. This does not look like it was lubricated by them. Oh, hell no, it wasn't. Look at this. This is the disgusting brown stock grease these things come with. Okay, now I am going to break out my alcohol wipes. I don't know why the factory that made these Atlas did this, but all of them from this era have this disgusting brown grease in these things, and it just doesn't do anything any help at all. It's just absolute agony. You can see it's all over my wipe right now as I go through all this. I'm gonna go through the gear now and wipe them using my fingernails and just try to get as much of this out as I can. All this grease everywhere. I mean, honestly, why? In general, just why is my question, really. That's all I have to say. Why? Why? Well, it's a crooked letter at the end of the alphabet. As for what reason they had for doing it, well, I don't know. I hate this brown grease. Oh, I hate this stuff with a passion. If for an HO scale engine, I would just dunk it in alcohol and be done, but these parts are easy to lose, and I don't want to take a chance on it. So I'm doing it the harder way. Maybe it's also a little bit quicker to do it this way. Just going to get rid of all this grease. Again, I don't know why the factory would actually put grease in where the bearing mounts. I mean, this is just plain stupid. It's almost like crazy glue, unless that was the idea. They would hope it would turn to crazy glue later in its life, and that would somehow prevent it from moving. This really is a dumb thing to do. I don't understand why that was done. Unless it was in the gears and it just evaporated for the most part and wound up on the edges here. as it was so poorly applied. It's not going to hurt anything there, so I'm just going to get as much of this out of the immediate area as I can. And that's going to do it. I'm also going to put new lubricants on this. I'm going to use Labelle 107 in grease on this. I'm not going to... Or 108, pardon me. I think it is for the end scale. I have this stuff here. It's not a problem. I'm just not going to take a chance with this because I do not want any problems with something I'm going to put this much effort into fixing. 108, as I was right, it was 108. I was right on the second try. Just going to give a little rub here because there's a little of this legacy grease left here. Just a little dab on all of these bearings. I'm only trying to get a coating here so they don't rust. So just enough to put something on there. And that ought to do it. There we go. That's that's ready to go back in. Get this oil out of the way. Bring you back into the picture here. Let me just fold it over here. Wrap it around here as per what they want us to do. Want me to do, rather, or anyone assembling this, I should say. Again, this is to prevent the contacts from straying from the motor pickups and making contact with the frame itself, which could lead to you blowing your decoder out and some money. Not to mention some tears. There we go, I got it all done. Okay, now I need to... Oh, this is it. There we go, I got it back in. Okay, that's all set. So now let's put this back in place like it was. Boy, this thing is not going to be happy today, is it? It's going to fight me the whole way through. Oh! Now, that would really have been smart had I actually checked to see if this wasn't in the way before I pressed it down, but I didn't. So, of course, I didn't know it wasn't. And oh, boy. Delete expletive, delete expletive, delete expletive, delete expletive. Oh, delete expletive. Ah! Something clicked. I don't like what I heard, but I think it's okay. Okay, yeah, everything's in here. Okay, good. It's finally back in place. Let's continue where I was. The shafts again, get this back in place. And yeah, now we're finally ready to get where I thought I was before. I hope this is worth it. This thing better work after all the hell I just went through to get it in place. Uh-oh, why is this got... His hair is stuck to the actual frame, but there's not much I can do on that. I'm not dipping this in water, no thank you. I just went through a lot of hell to lubricate it. All right. There should be... So now I'm going to slide this in like so, making sure that those two contacts for the motor pickups actually touch this correctly. This is not properly bent over. I want to make sure these both touch that. May have to get the tweezers out here again, but they're pretty sure I'm going to need them. But I kept them handy. They're right over here. No, 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 no. All right, this is not quite aligned correctly. I'm going to make sure these touch perfectly. Oh, boy. You're so spoiled these days with those modern decoders with those holes in them. Not having it in here really takes you back to the bad old days of DCC installs with N-scale. Not necessarily a great time in history in terms of being a hobbyist. So I got them both touching. So as you can see, both pads are now touching the pads there as they should be. Let's now make sure that this actually works. This goes right in here like that. Lock it in the front first, I guess, so it locks on the decoder, and then press it down so it won't get any ideas about jumping out of its way again. There we go. All right, that's in. Sort of. Kind of. Kind of course, isn't acceptable. Got to make this thing fit. All right. Add that in. Snap it in place. There we go. I think that's in pretty good. As in good enough. As in it should work. As in I don't know. Okay, let's get the trucks back on here. And I'll do up the screws. Just lightly. Oh, the truck fell out again. Again, this is done, and the shell is not clamped tight, so it's not going to hold very well right now. Until I get all this done. I think I'm going to keep it upside down. I had to realize there's nothing up there. I don't have to worry about damaging a shell because the shell isn't on. The frame is metal. That's not going to get damaged, at least not easily, or at least not in a way that's going to be noticed because it's going to be covered by the shell anyway. So let's just get this on place, make sure these trucks are in, pickup lines are in place correctly. Contact lines, I should say, are in place correctly. And, okay, let's now get my tank. Oh dear, where did I put the tank? Oh, here it is. Another close call. Crisis averted. Need the tank because the fuel tank again holds these contact lines in place. So it needs to be in place to hold this shell in place. Hold them in place against the metal frame. No, 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 no. I want this to go in. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Ah, I got it. Okay, put the washer on the back. Washer. And just tighten this thing up a little bit. Grab the other washer, which should be in here. It is. And I'm just going to place it right over here. Like so. Grab my screwdriver and tie this all up again. Couple clockwise turns. And it should do it. So now it's back together. Now the question is, I have it back together okay. Will it actually work? Well, let's find out. Okay. Gonna now move this into position and attempt to make this thing work without hopefully causing either a short or with it actually being able to move back and forth. Let me find my adapter plug thing for this. Should be right here. There it is. Turn my power on. That was on. That's nice. Okay. Just need to plug this in and alrighty, folks. Keep an eye on that smoke test. See what happens. Aha! So we do have sound. That's a good sign. Going to be Loco 3. Again, all default addresses on new decoders, new locomotives, etc. are always 3. Someone had... That's an interesting horn. It started to spin. Ha ha ha! So this one is working. It's a little hesitant. Some of this might be because this hasn't run in a while. Okay, careful test now. Let me just test to make sure I'm getting power on both wheels. That one works. And that one works. Okay, So that should be good now. Alrighty, so that's a much better result than what I had last time, although the engine keeps resetting itself. Let me try changing the sound effects to stop this restarting thing. That's starting to get on my nerves to listen to. You hear it's constantly going back to this idle circuit. Let's see if it'll actually change addresses. Let's see here, I think that's CV125. That's the reset CV. Oh, that's a prime mover. You can see how annoying this thing is. It keeps playing the same restart, sort of zero throttle to idle setting. That is really irritating. Alright, let's hopefully this will change when I change the sound effects. Let's first try changing the prime mover. So 123, and I think it's number 4 I want, so let's go into CV 123 and choose number 4. There we go. Oh, it's doing the same thing again. Alright, well, let's see if this actually is workable. Okay. Alright, that's kind of ridiculous. Now the sound effects has completely changed. It's now going to an idle sound for a locomotive. Yeah, the sound effects are all over the place. Okay, yeah. So it looks like I'm going to have to try to reset this one. Hopefully that doesn't cause it to fail like the last one did. Let's go on the main track, on the program track, and see if that works. So, 125 to 1. So let's go program, main track. See if I power cycle it, if it makes any difference. Uh-oh. And yep, there we go again. I tried to factory reset it, and it again crashed the decoder. Oh, how lovely. Isn't this just pleasant? But it's still making the same idling mess where it keeps going back one notch and then not working right. Okay, so this decoder is a fail. So I'm going to have to take this thing apart and change the decoder out. Luckily, I am prepared this time. When trying to install one of these decoders, I find you have to order 2, so I ordered another one. So we're going to go ahead and shove this one in and see what this does. And I'm going to prepare this one to get sent back again. And I think I'm going to stop using MRC decoders because this is the last straw. Though I do have 1 or 2 more engines I have to equip with these things, so yeah, we'll see how that works. Okay, so now I need to take this thing apart. Let me actually unhook my DCC system and get the track out of the way. Actually, I can probably just work with it here quickly enough. There we go. DCC system is powered down. Let's undo this decoder. Get rid of this piece of junk. Alrighty, I have now installed the new decoder. I know it doesn't look any different from the old because it is the same decoder. Everything's back together. Let's see if this works. Smoke test. I'm waiting for it to catch fire, to be honest, the way things have been going today. Okay, smoke test, and it comes. Power's on. No sound yet. That is not good. Oh, I don't have, oh, it might help if I actually connect the right track to this. I think this is the programming connection. No, it's the main track. That's not good. So I'm not getting any power on this now. Let me try commanding this thing. Let me call it up on address number 3. And it's as dead as a dodo. That's my DCC wire is gone here. No, it's in. They're both connected, so it's making power. I got juice going to the track, but it ain't doing nothing. No response to any commands. Completely dead. Let me do a spark test here. Yep, just sparked, so it is working. Let me reset this thing again. I've had problems with the MRC Prodigy Advanced Express Squared. Notice the quality control has dipped even more on their products. I like this thing because it's so tiny and it mounts right to the side of my workbench. But it's been a troublemaker since I've had it. Admittedly, it's getting power, but it for some reason isn't starting up. Oh, here it is. I don't know what was wrong. It's working now suddenly. Maybe it could have been the system. Let's go to Loco 3. That sounds much more promising than the last one. And that's the horn effect it should have when it's new. Let's throttle up and see if it moves. Though not as loud, though, I notice it's pretty quiet. So that does work. Okay, so let's now program some effects in here. That was 123. What did I say, 123, I think? I don't want to hit the wrong one and reset this again because I know that's going to cause it to blow a fuse. Yep, 123, number 123 to 4. So let's go program main track. 123 to 4. Oh, no, not that way. No, let's back out. So prog main track, Loco 3. Let's do the CV first. Let's go CV 123 to 4. Nope. Oh, I'm Butterfingers tonight. Program main track. No. Loco 3. Program main track. 123. No. Oh, I'm losing my head. So quiet. It doesn't have any volume to it. I'm not happy with that, but there's nothing much I can do about it. Let's try that again. Program main track. (123) to 4. Start turning up the volume a bit. Let's see here. CV55 to 3 is the maximum volume apparently. So program again. Doesn't make a difference. It's already at maximum volume. So it's really quiet, and that's all it's going to do. Oh, charming. Well, I can't do much about that now. Let's go Loco. Let's go to the main track again, and let's program this for number 82. Actually, no, let's go back to 3. Program main track 82. Loco 82. Okay, let's do some more programming here. Main track 82. Let's mess around and get a different bell in here. Yeah, unfortunately this is going to be super quiet, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's almost not worth continuing, but oh boy, what a waste. It's the bell type. Let's go here. So let's do CV52 and put type number 5 in there. Let's go CV. Let's go for the horn type. Let's go 29. Actually, no, that's the wrong one. Let you go program again. CV number for horn, we're going to go with 50. That's to get in there. And we'll change this to number 32. So now, when I go back to loco, type in 82, I should have control again. It should make a different sound. Oh, there's no sound now at all for the horn. Oh, this is really messed up. Oh. CV is 50, I believe. 50. Horn number 27 we'll go with, just pulling one off the top of my head. And it doesn't work at all. Program main track. 50. Let's go with number 11. Moved it a little bit so I do have control, just to confirm. Yeah, it works, but oh god, this thing is quiet. That's the best it's going to do, unfortunately. Oh, I can't. I'd love to say I wasn't disappointed, but I am. Oh, leave it sight. Well, that's just going to have to do it, I guess. So I'm not exactly thrilled with the sound decoder yet again. I'm tempted to pull this one out, to be honest, and put the other one I have in here, because this thing is so darn weak. But, yeah, I just don't have the energy to do it right now. So now that all this glue is by this point dried up on this, I'm going to place the shell on top, like so. First, I think I should put this little guy in the front here. Though it's not going to fit because of the way this decoder is set up. See, the problem with this decoder here is that it protrudes forward to the point where this cannot fit the way it used to, so I can't put it back in place. So this is just how it's going to have to be. Alrighty, and that's going to do it for this project, I guess. Let me just get this thing in place. Do one last test of it. Came out pretty good, if I do say so myself. This rear thing is back in place here, this rear railing. It's not the greatest job I've ever done, but it'll work well enough. Oh, it's actually a little louder now that I put the shell on because it's baffling it. But it is very quiet. Yeah, so not the greatest results. It does work, but that's about all I can say about it. Anywho, this is a semi-successful one. I wouldn't quite call it a fail, but I wouldn't quite call it a success either. It's just going to have to sit like this until I decide to change the decoder or just leave it like it is. Anywho, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Please like and subscribe, and as always, keep the metal side down.